Thank you for viewing this brief demonstration of the exciting new methodology of electrode placement for EEG, the ez1020. Utilizing the ez1020 tape measure, a technologist can arrive at a perfect 1020 markup in 10 minutes or less with very few calculations. Get better quality recordings that result in better patient outcomes. Let's begin with the ez1020 tape measure. This disposable tape is two-sided, red on one side and blue on the other. The red side is familiar with a traditional scale of 0 to 72 centimeters. The blue side, however, is designed exclusively for EEG with the 1020 and the 1010 systems in mind. This side of the tape has a clearly marked midpoint with a scale of 0 to 36 from the midpoint to the left end of the tape and a 0 to 36 from the midpoint to the right. To demonstrate, we already have our 10% lines marked, FPZ and OZ. Place the tape where you believe CZ will be, then slide it until the values are equal at FPZ and OZ. In this case, both are 14.5 centimeters from the midpoint. Mark it. This is half of a perfect CZ, as it is exactly halfway between FPZ and OZ. For PZ, slide the tape until the values are equal on both ends of the segment to be split. In this case, 7.25 centimeters from the midpoint. Mark it. To finish off the central line, place the midpoint to where you think FC will be and slide the tape until the values at CZ and FPZ are equal, in this case 7.25 centimeters. Mark the midpoint. You have now completed the central line with perfect electrode placement in less than 1 minute. Order today from MVAP Medical Supplies at mvapmed.com or call 877-735-6827. For this demonstration, we have already marked the 4 anatomical landmarks and 10% above each. We'll start by finding the midpoint between FPZ and OZ. We do this by placing the midpoint of the tape as close to where CZ will be and look at the tape at FPZ and OZ. Slide the tape until the values are equal. In this case, they are each 14.5 centimeters from the midpoint. We know that the midpoint is now exactly halfway between FPZ and OZ. Use the same technique to find the midpoint between CZ and OZ. In this case, the values are each 7.2 centimeters from the midpoint. Mark it. This will become PZ. Do the same for FC by sliding the tape until the values are equal at FPZ and CZ. Again, they are each 7.2 centimeters from the midpoint. Mark it. This will become FC. Now let's mark the pre-aric to pre-aric line. Place the tape as close to the middle of the segment and slide the tape until the values are the same at T3 and T4. In this case, the values are the same on each side at 13.3 centimeters. Mark the midpoint. This is now an absolute true CZ. We can now mark half of C4 by finding the midpoint between CZ and T4. Slide the tape until the values are equal at each site, in this case at 6.8 centimeters. Mark the midpoint. This will become C4. Do the same for the left side of the head by placing the midpoint where you think C3 will be. Slide the tape until the values are equal at CZ and T3. In this case, they are the same at 6.8 centimeters on each side. Mark the midpoint. This will become C3. Complete FPZ by placing a vertical mark in line with the nose of the patient. Next, determine 5% of the total circumference of the head and mark this distance left and right of FPZ. In this case, with our 55 centimeter head, this distance is 2.75 centimeters. Do this by placing the midpoint of the ez1020 tape on FPZ, then mark at 2.75 on both the left side and the right side of the midpoint. Now mark a horizontal line at each line on plane with FPZ. This completes FP1 and FP2. With our 55 centimeter head, our electrode should be 5.5 centimeters between. Place the tape with a 5.5 centimeter marking at FP1. mark the midpoint and at 5.5 on the other side of the midpoint. You have just marked 2 locations in the time it takes to mark 1. Now mark a horizontal line at the bottom of the tape intersecting each line. This completes F7 and T3. Do this again to complete T5 and O1. Repeat this technique on the right side beginning at FP2, completing F8, T4, T6, and O2. Now that you have O1 and O2, as a quality measure, check your distances between these sites. They should also be 5.5 centimeters apart. Now let's mark our parasagittal lines. We begin by using the ez1020 tape to find the midpoint between FP1 and O1. As before, do this by placing the tape where you think C3 should be, and slide the tape until the values at FP1 and O1 are the same. Mark the midpoint. This will complete C3. Repeat this technique to find the midpoint between C3 and O1. Mark it, as this will become P3. Now use the same technique to find the midpoint between C3 and FP1. Mark it, as it will become F3. Repeat this for the right parasagittal line. Now let's mark the posterior transverse line. Place the midpoint where you think PZ will be. Slide the tape until the values at T5 and T6 are the same. Mark the midpoint. This completes PZ. Now find the midpoint between PZ and T6. Mark it. This completes P4. Do the same on the left side by finding the midpoint between PZ and T5. Mark it. This completes P3. Now let's finish the markup by completing the anterior transverse line. Place the midpoint where you think FC will be and slide the tape until the values at F7 and F8 are equal. Mark the midpoint. This completes FZ. Now find the midpoint between FZ and F7. Mark it. This completes F3. Do the same on the right side by finding the midpoint between FZ and F8. Mark it. This completes F4. The head is now complete with perfect symmetry in accordance with the International 1020 system of electrode placement for EEG. Better patient connections result in recordings with far higher diagnostic value. Better recordings lead to better patient outcomes. Ensure that you are providing the best patient care and order your ez1020 disposable tape measures today. Available from MVAP Medical Supplies at mvapmed.com or call 877-735-6827.